G'day guys, welcome back. My name's Chris, aka I Ride Taz, and yeah, welcome back to the carport and welcome back to the CD90z Restomod build. And this bike has come such a long way. I'm really excited about it. The Lifan engine's in, the oil cooler's on, we've got some pretty slick rear shocks, all the controls are in, the harness is in. Yeah, we are getting to the pointy end of this. Of course, I'm going to take it apart later and respray the frame and all this sort of things, but the build itself is coming together and it's probably not too far away from its first start. But ultimately today, I want to get the wheels on because the tyres arrived and I took them to the bike shop and I got the tyres put on, and I want to put the tank on as the two main things. But certainly there's probably a few other minor sort of styling things that I'm going to do. And I've been waiting for this moment for ages because I'm really keen to show you my vision for where I thought this bike would head. And today is that day because all the stuff is here and it's just down to installing it, because it's universal and it will take a little bit of modifying to get it to install, but we are at that point, guys, and I'm really excited about it. And this is always my favorite bit, is styling, cosmetics, because it really transforms a bike really quickly. But enough waffle, let's get down to business and let's get these wheels on first. These are the tyres that I chose. They are full knobbies, 17-inch rim size, 2.75. I have heard that 3s will go on it, but I wanted to stick basically to roughly the stock size so that it would fit in this gap without modification. Yeah, the tyres themselves, they're for pit bikes and they're not for highway use, etc., but they are going to be absolutely sick off-road. They were 40 bucks each, which was an absolute bargain. Where it ceased to be a bargain was when I took it to the bike shop. They charged me $127, or wanted to charge me $127 to get them installed. I just handed them over the previous day without actually being given a price and nearly fell over backward when they passed them back to me and told me the bill. I plain and simply just would not have got it done professionally had I have known exactly how much it was going to cost. So my message to you is, if you provide the tyres, it is not necessarily going to be a cheaper exercise, because ultimately you often get fitting included if you buy the tyres from a bike shop. So just tread carefully and don't get ripped off like I did. That's the second time I've been ripped off by that bike shop locally, and so I'm probably not going to go back. Not in the business of naming and shaming, but I'm really unimpressed with the service that I've gotten there a couple of times now. So that's it, we're done, and I will move on and go to another one. Full knobbies, you say? Yep, absolutely. And right from day dot, I've wanted to give this bike a sort of scrambler look, but then one night I thought, why stop at scrambler? I'm going to go desert sled. Desert sled, look it up if you've never seen one, but they're sort of 60s, 70s Triumphs and bikes like that were converted for off-road racing for the Baja 1000 and things like that. They are dual suspension bikes. They're normally quite large capacity, 500, 650, but I thought that this little 90 bike would lend itself with some full knobbies, a different tank and things like that to the desert sled style. And I think it's going to look cool. And there's probably a lot of you turning off in droves at the moment because you are horrified that a CD90 or an S90 gets turned into a desert sled, but when have I ever been here to appease the purists? There's actually quite a lot of meat left on these brake pads. I do have others coming because these are quite old, but there is actually quite a lot of meat left on. They're quite smooth, so I've just got a Scotch-Brite pad on the end of the drill, and I just plan on roughing them up a little bit, get some of that varnish and smoothness off so that they grip a little bit better when I put the brakes on. I really scared the crap out of them. Mont's not a big fan of power tools. Alright, and we'll just go inside here. Monty. Oh, scary. So all I'm doing is just taking off some of the varnish that would have occurred over the years. And the speedo that I took off this bike said that it only had 8,000 K on it, and some of the things like the brake pads do tend to suggest that it's a very low kilometre bike. But I've put some grease on the bearings off camera. I put some grease on the speedo drive. We'll pop that back together. Yep, perfect. And it will go that way. Perfect. $14, $17. There. That's tight. And just in my little bag of tricks here, I've got some cotter pins. Just need the next size up. Yeah, got some big suckers here. So these are 2.5 by 35 mil, and the cotter pin just goes into the axle and the castle nut there, and it just pulls back as such. If this nut ever backs off, the pin just stops it from coming out. Yep. Perfect. Yeah, there is the front installed. Just going to put the rubber back into the cush drive. I took them out just in case the dogs stole them. Put that back in there. Let's get this on. Put the axle through. It's just a bit bent. Just got the 23 mil nut. And the 17 mil castle nut. But before we go too much further, we'll put the chain on. Just before we tighten everything up, just going to put the chain on. And we've just got the retaining clip, and the wheel will go that way. So we want to put the retaining clip so that things that hit the chain knock it on, rather than that way so that it knocks it off. Click. And actually, since we have messed around with it a little bit, the chain itself is much looser. Just going to run a couple of washers just to bring the nut out. Okay. Maybe run one washer. Just, yeah, hand tight that on. Cool. So that is on there. We'll just go around the other side and just tighten up the brake drum support arm. Just gonna put some cotter pins through this brake arm, or just drum brake support arm. And another one up here, just so that they can't back out. Have a quick look at the angle of the exhaust. To better secure this, I've messed around with a couple of different options. I'm just going to put a riv nut in it. That worked. Look at that. So I've gone to Bunnings and I've got a metal bracket. Oh yeah, that. Now that is a bracket. We have no chance of that coming off. Guys, yesterday we got the wheels on and they look amazing, just really add to the off-road look that I'm going for the bike. Today we're gonna mess around with the back brake because currently the bike doesn't have any brakes. I want to get rid of this center stand and go with a side stand for the moment. So I've got this 210mm one from Blygo. It's going to go there. So again, it's designed for a pit bike, but we're going to put it on our CD90Z project. Yep, it's literally just like so, and the bolt like so. So the reason I'm going the pit bike kickstand is exactly that. I can get it to get up out of the way a lot better than the center stand. Center stand wants to hang down here and it just sort of halves my ground clearance. Yeah, getting the spring on is going to be a bugger. We'll go the screwdriver technique to start with. Yeah. Yeah, first time. Awesome. Yes, that actually has worked exceptionally well. For all of my whinging and complaining there, that's actually worked really well. Yeah, that, my friends, is on good and proper. And yeah, that spring drags it right up out of the way. So now the bash plate's the lowest point of the bike, not the center stand. I liked this one so much that I went to Blygo and I bought myself another chain guard because I want to run one on the top, and this one will act as a heel guard as well. So let's just install that. Alright, so we will tighten these bad boys down. Yeah, that's on. Cool. Right. That's on. Pretty happy with how that looks, to be honest. Okay, so currently we have 0 brakes. The easiest one for us to hook up will be the rear brake, which will go there. So let's have a play with that. And that will mean we'll also be able to get rid of this sketchy center stand. Hopefully for the last time. There we go. Springs out. Just might lift it up on the lift. Just it'll make life easier and less likely for it to fall over. That's out. And that center stand is out for the last time. Cool. Hammer this through. Somewhat sketchily, it attaches with a cotter pin. So we'll put that in. Cool, that's in, and let's go back around the other side. Okay, so this arm goes in there. So, and attaches again with a cotter pin. What is with these cotter pins? That's it, just pin that out of the way. gonna screw this in. So just pop the cotter pin in. And just thread this on, and in theory our back brake is connected and functional. In practice, yeah, and we're going to need a spring. Joy. I think this will do the job. I bought it online. It's a spring pack. So, yeah, I think that's exactly what this spring is for. Oh, right, so that's on. Let's just jack it up, spin the wheel, and see if we can engage the brake. Just gonna have to do an update here because it took a lot of problem solving and a lot of messing around to sort this, but instead of running the spring over the hinge and bending it, I basically used the old engine bolts in the unused engine bolt hole. Because remember, we're running the rear mount here rather than here, and I did get another spring in the kit, and basically I've run it from that engine bolt to the lever, because just update here, because I was problem solving and I wasn't filming it because I wasn't sure what I was doing. But this is an exceptionally functional brake. What I've done is run the old engine mount bolt through the back engine mount that we're not using on the Lifan engine, because remember, we are running engine mounts from there to here, and then that leaves one engine mount free. So I ran the engine bolt through it, and then I connected another spring that I got in the kit from there to there. and that works absolute treat. Those brakes are not going anywhere. They are stopping this bike quite happily. So yeah, that was a problem-solving exercise, but we got it sorted, and I'm real happy with how those brakes are working. So let's move on to the front brakes. Guys, somewhere along the line, a non-standard brake arm has been added to this bike. That's really annoying. I've got one in the mail coming, but we're going to modify this one to suit. What we're going to do, guys, is drill that out to fit that, which could be a little bit sketchy, but it's the best we've got to get this bike braking today until the new one arrives. So we've drilled that out. That goes through there nicely. Okay, so we've drilled that out, and we're just going to drill out this section here. Right, there's that. Okay, that fits there. I'm not sure how sketchy that is, but there's still a fair bit of meat left on it, so I'm pretty happy with that actually. Yep, that's gonna work. Let's get this on. And we'll just put that on there because we'll have to go up to the handle, but it's looking pretty good. Let's tighten that up again. And then just twist that out, and I think we're about sorted. Yeah, that looks like we have brakes. Guys, I'm really stoked where we're at with this bike now, and I'm sure you can start to see the vision I have of where I want to head with it, particularly now that we've got the big heavy knobby tyres on it. I'm sure you can see that we're looking at quite literally a pit bike in a classic frame and an off-road styling. I cannot wait for the next couple of weeks because we'll be starting to go with tank, front fender, rear fender, and I've been messing around with that behind the scenes. So I'll probably have to do an update style rather than sort of step by step, because I have messed around with the tank and a few things to get it to fit on this, and it is starting to look really cool. But in today's video we got the tyres mounted up, which is a bit of a debacle, but I'm over it. We've got the wheels on the bike, we've got the brakes connected, we've got a kickstand on the bike now rather than a centre stand, so the bash plate is now the lowest point of the bike, where in the past the centre stand would have been, and that I've pretty much doubled my ground clearance on the bike just from that alone. Yeah, what else did we do? We put a couple of chain guards on it to act as a chain guide and a heel guard. I think that looks pretty cool. Whether they work or not, who knows, but it looks cool. The aesthetics there for sure. I connected up the front and rear brakes. There was a lot of messing about to get that done, but they're on, and I can roll it up and down the driveway and it does brake. So bottom line, when we start it for the first time, I'd be confident to give it a quick ride up and down the street because it now has functional brakes. We're getting very close to doing the cosmetics, which I really enjoy doing, but that's going to be in another video, guys. And the build videos, I hope you're enjoying them because I'm absolutely loving doing this bike, and my watch times seem to be going up, so I think that there is a percentage of you guys that are really enjoying this build as well. It really does help me out if you like, comment, subscribe. If you could watch the video fully, that really seems to help my channel out. The longer the watch time, the better. And then give it a thumbs up. That would be amazing if you guys could do that. It would really help me out because it seems to make these videos more relevant and seen by more people. But guys, I will see you next week. I'll see you next Tuesday. Have a great week, guys. Till I see you then, I'm out. Take care.